Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here today. And let's go ahead and dig into the 119th Psalm. We'll be starting in the 66th verse today. Hope you've had a great week, got a good weekend planned. Hope part of that weekend includes being in God's house for some worship, spending some time with God's people this weekend. All right, Psalm 119, verse 66. Here is a great prayer for all of us to learn. Unfortunately, I think sometimes we think we might grow out of this prayer. The psalmist says, "Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandments." Teach me good judgment and knowledge. Again, I think sometimes that many believers, as we age, we tend to think, well, I've got it. I have it all figured out. This psalmist recognizes and confesses that he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it all figured out. He doesn't have it all put together. And so he is praying for good judgment and knowledge. He doesn't want to miss anything. And it's important, I think, to notice here and to remember how much of this psalm has been about the psalmist's suffering, his affliction, his persecution. And he says in that, "Teach me good judgment and knowledge." And so we have the psalmist here saying, I don't want to fail to learn while I'm going through uh, these these trying times. I want to learn something from you. I want to learn from your commandments, from your word. I want to have a better understanding. If I'm going to go through this time of persecution, this time of suffering, whatever he was going through, we're not exactly sure. But whatever it is, if I'm going to go through that anyway, when as I go through it, I want to be wiser for it. I want to be closer to the Lord because of it. And so we praise, Lord, continue to teach me, continue to open up my eyes and my heart. He says, I have believed your commandments. I've been trusting them. I've been following your word in my life, but now I want to continue. And so I think there's really two things that he's saying there. Is I have past tense. Notice that past tense. I have believed your commandments in the past. Now that I'm going through difficult times, now that I'm going through these circumstances, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to. I don't want to move away from you. I want to move closer to you in spite of these situations. And he says in verse 67, "Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I have kept your word." Uh, there were times in my life when I wasn't what I ought to be, when I wasn't the man that I should be. But now, because of and during this affliction, I have got closer to the Lord. I have become more aware uh, of the Word of God in my life. And that's a great lesson for us to think about this morning that as we go through life, we're going to have affliction, we're going to have hard times, and we're going to have struggles and battles. Um, but uh, good should come out of those. We don't let those bring us further, move us further from God, or cause us to lose faith or to have our dependence on Him lowered, but that we learn even through those difficult times that we will follow Him and be even closer to Him. I'm going to I'm going to concentrate on the good things of God. I'm going to concentrate on His Word. And one of the real challenges that we face is when we are going through those afflictions and those kinds of times, um, is that we learn what it is God's trying to teach us through that time as well. That we become aware of His teaching. We further, as the psalmist says, submit ourselves to the teaching of the Lord. And again, that's a real challenge. If you think about what he says in those two verses, those are some real high challenges that he's laid out there. That Lord, teach me your word. I'm going through a hard time. I'm going through a rough place in my life. Teach me. Show me more. I want to draw closer to you. And then in the next verse to confess that in these hard times, and not only that, but to admit that previously I was not what I should be. I wasn't where I should be. I went astray. But because of these hard times, because of these afflictions, now I have drawn closer to you. And today, as you go about your day, as you go about your business, there are going to be some rough spots probably. There's going to be some times, some things happen to you during your day that were not the way you planned them. And the question is, the challenge is for us, will those things bring us closer to God, or will they move us further from God? And, there's really no other option. And so today, the challenge for us is when we come back together tomorrow to continue in this psalm, to be able to say that I'm closer to the Lord now than I was yesterday. In spite of the affliction, in spite of the problems I had, I am today even closer to the Lord than I was yesterday. And I hope that's your desire, your prayer, and that God will honor that in your life. See you here tomorrow. Hope you have a great day.